frustration. Welcome to the world of frustration. You know, you would think that it would be so easy to do these simple things like, oh, just go online. Uh, oh, my darlings. Oh, my darlings. It just doesn't work like that. For starters, it just, life doesn't work like that. Life is far more complicated and tragic and horrible. This won't work. Okay, let me show you what I mean. That's the visuals. And that's the continuous visuals. So, why? I don't know. Because. Okay, now it's frozen. Yeah, so it's not letting me do it. So, yeah. Sometimes life works out like that. And then we can spend the evening talking about it, which is wasted time, or not. So it's all over now. Well, you'd think 30 minutes to go online with the computer would be enough for me to figure it out. But as you can see, it wasn't because the lighting is now not on. So you get to watch me get psychologically frustrated. For whatever reason, it's decided that I am not going to get on. I'm not going to be able to do it. I have no control. This is the spiritual lesson. I must experience that horrible feeling all over again of I have no control. This is happening to me and I have no control. I've got to get control. Like, you don't have control. You just have to go through it. You have no control. I have to, I got to learn to, okay, so let's use this as a spiritual experience in control. All right. Are you in control? Do you need to be in control? What are you in control of? In the end, what are any of us in control of? Hi, Mila. How are you? Yeah, so for some reason, something's going on with, oh, maybe the video settings. Yeah, I screwed up the video settings and I took a picture and the picture became the video. I don't know what I'm doing, people. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the bottom line. And yeah, I've got no one to help me. I am alone and I don't know what I'm doing. I am alone. I am not in control. And no one can help me. And I can't learn from videos. And I've got horrible ADHD and I'm taking a 3-hour course and I click out after 12 minutes and go back. And I come back 2 hours later and I realize that I have turned the video off and I'm washing the dishes. And then I remember that 2 hours ago, I was looking at a video on how to make videos. And the next thing you know, is anybody else going through any of the same things I'm going through? Talk to me. Or do you guys not have my control problems? Excuse me. It's everything it triggers. Here comes the dust. It's everything it triggers. It triggers people doing anything they can to us, and we can't control it because they can, because I can. That button. Even though that's not what's happening right now. And then it makes me go on a tirade about injustice. And then I go and do dishes. I spent the last 2 days trying to figure out Photoshop. Frustrating. Oh my God. Yeah, so what happened was I tried to create a backdrop, and the backdrop I created was an image of my thumb accidentally, and now you can't see my face. You can just see the thumb. And now I can't get out of the thing that I created. So now the next phase for me and my neuroses is that I will then go back over and over again trying desperately to fix the thing that I've broken until I get it right. And then I will be satisfied, right? Then I will be like, yay, I did it. I did it. I'm so proud of myself. Yay, Dr. Whimsy. All right, so let's check this. Whoops, why are you talking? You should be mute. All right, hold on. You see, folks, we're just learning. If you need to leave, I get it. I'll probably be starting. I will be starting the stream in about 5-10 minutes because right now I'm just trying to get the sound and everything set up. I'm not ready to do anything other than try and fix these settings. I apologize. Well, like I said, I'm doing it on my own. And that's never fun. And, but that's okay. You know, I feel frustrated. I feel abandoned, rightly so, because I didn't expect to be in this situation at 61, doing what I thought somebody else was supposed to be doing. So it's all triggers all kinds of emotional frustration for me. Why is it doing that? Okay. You know, you give and you give and you give, and then you get back not as much as you give. It's frustrating. Okay, so why is it doing that now? Okay, now the image it's showing is an image, it's taken a picture of me. Why is it doing that? Okay. Oh, see, that's an image now. It's got a picture of me. See, it keeps doing that. All right, I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go. I don't know how to do this. It seems like it should be so simple, and yet it isn't. All right, you see, it should be so simple, right? So simple a child could do. Why can't it be? Why can't I do it? Why can't I do Photoshop? Anybody ever try to do Photoshop? It's so simple. I turned in my homework because I can't focus. I can't concentrate. And there's a lot of reasons why my concentration is not good right now. The war is having a big effect on my mental health and my ability to focus. Yeah, I can't do this. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe if I did another invitation. Okay, what I'm gonna do is remove this guest altogether. Okay, maybe if I do that. Yeah, you guys can leave. I seriously, yeah, it's doing it again. Um, I can't do this. It's, yeah, I gotta let it go. I gotta let it go. I got to let it go. I've got to let the need to control go. I got to let the fact that I'm alone at 61 go. I've got to let the fact that I was defrauded go, that there are bad people in this world, that they tell themselves stories. I got to let it go what's going on in Israel. I got to let it go that Netanyahu's gone crazy, screaming about the fact that he's not going to pay for the rebuild. He's lost his damn mind. He thinks there's a mass conspiracy going on. He thinks that this is all Benny Gantz, that I'm like a hired hack for Benny Gantz. He's having a nervous breakdown. How is everybody? Okay. Yeah. How is everybody? I'm just going to, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm here today. It's a rough day. I'm not having a good day. I'm having a bad day. How's everybody else doing? I don't know. I don't know. That's all. That is my word. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know. I don't know why people do bad things. I don't know why, uh, I was married to a man who had a master's from American Film Institute. Yeah, he had a master's from the American Film Institute and a BA from NYU. I should not be abandoned here, trying to figure this out on my own, right? It's not fair. It's not fair. Okay, now it's not giving me a visual at all. Extra camera. Add camera. Is it moving? Okay. Okay, and then this one has to be removed. Okay, and then that removes both of them. Huh. I think I've really screwed this up. I've really screwed it up. Yeah. Should have been so simple. I started at 4:30 to set up so you guys could see the extra camera, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I give up. All right. So a lot of you folks come onto the channel. Just a little feedback from me to you because I'm having a rough day. This is not for members. This my bad attitude. But a lot of people come on here and you're not members. And you don't donate to support the channel or to pay the money for the restream or all the computer equipment or the 2 courses I'm taking right now to improve quality, all of this stress to make the channel as good as possible. So when people come on here that don't donate money to the channel, so that I can pay Chuck, who's in a rent-controlled studio trying to survive as an artist. We're good people. We're just trying to make it, right? We're just trying to help and do good. So it beats us down when people come on here and start attacking us and criticizing everything or criticizing the show or complaining about you don't want to hear about the royals or you don't want to hear about Donald Trump or attacking my character or attacking the Chuck. This is free entertainment, you know. It's and it's I feel very defeated some days. That's all. And this is one of those days when I feel very defeated. I spent the last couple of days trying to figure out Photoshop. I can't figure it out. I make one error and it's permanent, and then I have to erase and begin again. I've been, I'm having a nervous breakdown from it, too, quite frankly. And every time I feel like I'm getting some control over how to do this stuff. Also, I'm doing it all at 61. And a mental stress of just getting out of bed in the morning, for many of us, we took to bed after our divorces, after the fraud, after the bank account was drained, after somebody didn't want to have, couldn't use me in any more ways that they could use me, right? So, and then you're stuck, drained. You're drained in every way that you could be drained. And you're trying to pick up the pieces. And thank you, Ella. And it's just a lot. Maybe that's what we need to talk about, being gentle with each other. Like one of the things that I've been aware of is that ever since I was born, I had to fight to stay alive, right? Many of us who are remote viewers who grew up hunted, for example, or in captivity, if we were born in captivity like I was. But I'm not in captivity anymore, right? And so many remote viewers are really screwed up. I'm talking about the real remote viewers, the kids that got stuck in MK Ultra or whatever. Those of us that are part of this holy community, right? We have a mystery school. We get together a couple times a week. We can't have a lot of stress. We can't be in public situations. There are so many wonderful readers out there that want to collaborate with me and other remote viewers, and we just can't take the stress of it. A lot of empaths, we just got to go hide under a pillow or something. It's and I think you know what I mean, many of you, like, it baffles remote viewers. I mean, it baffles empaths every day that we live in a world where the capacity to do the bad things we see in the world can happen. So I apologize for my bad mood. I wanted to do something nice for you guys. And yeah, I don't want to start crying. I'm just feeling frustrated. I think we need to do the empath prayer. You guys are very sweet. We're all under tremendous strain right now. And I think the wars have been going on too long. The trade wars have been going on. I think we're all just cracking from it, particularly the remote viewers. We're just cracking. We can't do. I should have listened to Lena. Lena went on vacation, right? Thank you, everyone, for your love and support. Let's go ahead and do the empath prayer. Thank you, guys. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Woo! Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself. Oh. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your kindness. I'm so sorry to come in here and be Debbie Downer. Thank you, Ella. So kind. Thank you, Dory, for being a fairy and angel. Much appreciated. Diane Smith, thank you so much. Dory, thank you so much. Rhonda Shank, I love you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Yeah, we're going to run late today because I was trying to get online and instead I messed everything up. And now we're going to get into a good mood. Next time I try this, I think the next time we try this, we will succeed. That's my feeling. Let's celebrate their 5th super on live stream. Oh, Rhonda Shank, it's your 5th super on live stream. Thank you so much. Well, what do you guys want to talk about for hot topics? It sounds like there's an awful lot that's going on. I made some notes for you guys if you want to talk about it. It looks like the green, what is it? I sent everything over to Chuck. Let's take a look here. The Republicans are cannibalizing themselves. Well, it's about time, don't you think? Don't you think that it's about time for the cannibalism to commence? I don't know. It's up to you guys. Let's see what we're looking at here. Gosh darn it. And a special shout out to our very own Midas Touch. We love him tremendously. Let's take a look.
He's got emotion. I have emotion. Yeah, you want to do it? I have emotion. You want to do it? I have emotion. You want keep it emotional.
Once again, we have Republicans physically attacking other Republicans at monthly Republican committee hearing meetings. You know, we've covered here on the Midas Touch Network fights.
Oh my God, it just goes on and on and on. And basically what they're finding out is that they ain't got no money, honey.
I have the right. I have the floor. I have the right. Okay, no booing or shouting. Stand, raise your hand, be recognized by the chair.
And it is the appropriate action to take.
Well, who took the money away? So it looks like we're in a bit of a pickle where who do you think took the money away?
So, just ignore him, you guys. Please ignore him.
If you thought houseplants were just for...
Okay, so it gets even better. I mean, some of the fights are just beautiful.
Meeting. This was about Mr. Chapman.
Let me see if I can find some more of this here. Okay, this is great. Look at this one.
Clip.
Let's talk about Macomb County and all.
You're all going to jail. You're all going to go down. You're Get the fuck out of here. By the power vested vested in me, by the power vested in me, by the power vested in me,
Are you an attorney?
by the power vested in me, you are no longer a delegate. Is that what you said? By the power vested in me, you're no longer a delegate.
Oh. My goodness. Weren't they friends? What happened? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We have another donation, I think. Thank you so much, everyone who's donating. Did you guys enjoy that? Now, what did I promise you cannibalism or did I promise you cannibalism? Did MAGA steal from what do we call this? What do we call this, folks? What do we call this? Any opinions? I think that it's the beginning of the end, of the Republican Party. And then what happens? What happens after the end? We have to find somebody to blame, right? So let's go ahead and we will take a look at I'm going to use the Gilded Reverie by Lenormand. You folks had asked me about the Gilded Reverie by Lenormand. Also, I had asked yesterday for you to select one of the herbs that you feel most connected to, 1, 2, or 3, and then we will give you an herb reading. This was herb 1. Which one do you feel attracted to? Here's herb 2. All right, just keep thinking about this through the readings. And then this is herb 3. So think about selecting which herb, and I'm going to tell you what it says about your personality. If you chose 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so while you're thinking about which one you've chosen, 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to tell you the future of the Republican Party while you meditate on that. I'll explain it to you. It's based on kinesiology and herbology. It's very ancient. It's a very ancient idea. I'm going to explain it to you in a second. All right. The big freeze. The big freeze. We're facing a big freeze with the Republicans. So people are getting frozen out of the Republican Party. Something's being delivered. Do you know what it is? I think the Republican Party is genuinely afraid that something is boiling up. Do you think that they are the last people to get the memo that they are going down and that we all had the memo years ago and that now it has finally reached the final destination that your party is finished because of Donald Trump? Thank you, Susan Barney. Thank you. I mean, look at this. the big freeze, and the opposition is about to deliver some kind of a blow to them because you've got those storks coming in and a bridge. You guys, I got a bad feeling for them. Look, the sun is coming out. You know what? This is going to get so bad so quickly because when they open the books on the Republican Party, they're going to find out the extent to which they have been robbed blind by MAGA. That's what's starting to happen. MAGA robbed them blind. Look at this. Yeah. Oh my God. You know, I'm actually not okay with this because to have only one party is very dangerous for the country. But you also have some kind of a people coming and going. The opposition gets its wish. I think the Dems are going to wipe the floor with them. Look at this, a bouquet, hopes and fears, a bridge and a bouquet. They're going to try and reach across the aisle and work with Democrats also. And the final outcome is the kingdom. The only way that they're going to be able to survive or win any elections is if they cut MAGA, because I think that MAGA is only going to be popular in MAGA districts. The only a bouquet for their opposition, that can't bode well for the Republican Party. They basically are handing Georgia to the Democrats. Yeah, there's your clarification. So it kind of goes exactly like they said it was going to go in the remotes, which is that cannibalism. Then they break open, they do an internal investigation. They find out that they have no money. They find out that they have no money because MAGA people came in and were installed and took the money for themselves, just like they used the White House doctor as their personal pharmacy. They used the GOP as their personal bank account. And unfortunately, they drained it. The amount of money they stole is now dawning on the Republicans. And so the down ballot races don't have any money. And so it's going to have a huge effect on whether or not they can hold on to the House. And it's not looking too good for the Senate. They just simply don't have any money. Yeah. Hi, Hugger. Thank you for hugging everybody and helping everybody. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the herbs and what they mean and give you a little bit of an herbal remedy reading. Herbs are healing, but herbs have a consciousness. They're part of a collective consciousness that allows us to not only heal, but connect with alternate ways of doing things, different vibrations, etc. If you picked number 1, you picked frankincense. Frankincense is interesting. It's a sacred, it's burned in churches. It's a very holy, it's given as a gift, frankincense. It's burned for purification. It's also used to communicate with your ancestors. So you may be wanting to communicate with the ancestors. It's an antiseptic, but it's also sold over the counter as boswellia. And boswellia is used for inflammation. So if you're taking it orally, it's to reduce inflammation. If you're burning it, it's for purification and to connect with your ancestors. So if you picked number 1, it could be a time for you to meditate with frankincense and connect with your ancestors. Okay, and then number 2, if you picked number 2, nice and earthy. You picked mullein. You picked mullein, and mullein is associated with the 5th chakra. It's associated with the lungs and with the throat or the 5th chakra. It's somebody who, it's maybe a time for you to begin working on healing your voice. expressing your own personal views, but also healing issues of grief. Issues of grief are associated with 2. Healing, talking, and communicating, but also healing issues of grief if you picked number 2. Time to begin maybe writing, speaking, working on your healing. Okay, a little bit similar. If you picked number 3, you picked Achillea millefolium, also known as yarrow. Yarrow. And yarrow is considered a sword. It's considered a sword. And that is the sword of truth. And, it's often given to people who need courage. It's for courage. If it's carried in a pouch, gree bag, it's to give you courage. And yarrow is also truth, like a sword. And I believe it is connected a little bit with possibly Archangel Michael, because it does have a sword-like quality. So the sword of truth, fighting for truth and bravery. Now is a time for bravery for you. So those are your readings. If you picked 3, it is a time of bravery, maybe more public speaking, to put yourself out there a little bit, to be brave, to stand up for what you believe in, to be courageous. If you picked number 2, it's a time to be more vocal, expressive, to work through grief. And number 1, it's a time to connect with your ancestors and spiritual matters. Yeah. Yes, MAGA. So that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I can keep doing those readings for you if you guys like them. You can connect with the plant by drinking the tea, by growing yarrow. It grows wild. Now is a good time to pick it because it's springtime. Mm-hmm. So yes, MAGA world is collapsing. Is anybody surprised that MAGA is collapsing? No, not even slightly surprised. They saw that coming. Will Trump wear an earpiece for the debate? I don't know. I think, are earpieces allowed? Is Trump going to have the verdict next week? Probably. Trump, seduction. Yeah, it's finished for Trump. He's the seducer. He gets caught. Look at that confusion. Inverted maze. This guy, it was like, the best way to describe it is like a collective hypnosis. I learned a lot from Donald Trump as a shadow, because if you talk really, really tough and people want to get tough, they'll vote for the tough guy, whether or not the policies are good or not. But if you want tough talk, then you're going to vote for the guy who talks tough. It has nothing to do with whether or not objectively it's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people would vote for Trump because they think he's good for Israel because he talks tough. He's disastrous for Israel. And in fact, a lot of our problems right now are because of Trump. A lot of the Middle East security crisis, it's all due to Trump, but he talks tough. So we're going to vote for Trump. So I'm learning a lot from Trump. And from Netanyahu. They talk tough. They talk tough, but you're responsible for October 7th. You're, in the sense that, not directly, but you screwed up the security. You pulled U.S. troops out. Anything, our current situation is directly linked to the policies of Netanyahu and Trump. It's no question about it. But they talk tough. We're going to go beat up some more people. Yeah. Going to blow up some more houses. Yeah. I'm going to withdraw more with U.S. troops from the area. Yeah. What? Yeah, I'm not going through anything. I'm just being I'm just being a brat. Thank you though, Arlene. God, most normal people do not get bent out of shape over. See, my problem, Arlene, and you're very sweet. Thank you, Arlene. My problem, Arlene, is that I'm a control freak. And I mean, I remember how I became this way. I became this way because people were really hard on me when I was very young. So I would get, you know, tortured if I didn't do certain things, right? You're frightened. So you become neurotic, right? Anybody been exposed to that kind of abuse where, you spill the milk and you get beaten, right? So people who grew up like that, you have an almost kind of neurotic obsession with perfection. And then you have to realize, you know what? That's sick. And I've got to learn to get past it, right? Because if we don't get past this kind of being too hard on ourselves, if we grew up like that, then we're just kind of re-abusing. And then it's going to be very unpleasant for other people to be around us. And it's the hardest thing in the world to break that cycle if we are too hard on ourselves. You know, Martha is talking about the yarrow, the flower leaves or the stem of yarrow, if you happen to know. Well, when yarrow is fresh, you can pick it if your nose is running, and you can put a yarrow up a person's nose, and it literally will stench the blood flow. So it's just the whole entire thing. You can you can use the whole plant. Each part of the plant is different, but I use the whole plant. You would harvest flowers, obviously, and leaves in the spring and roots in the winter. Roots tend to be more antimicrobial. And that's because they have a lot of things in them that we think about for being antimicrobial. I picked 2. Oh, you did, Terry Avalon. Okay. And you were a widow. Okay. And you're feeling really angry. Yeah, that makes sense, because being able to speak and also to grieve, because 2 is mullein, and mullein is for the lungs and weeping, right? When people weep. Oh, the earpiece is also because you have the producer talking in your ear. People have an earpiece, for example, on The View. So sometimes the producer is talking in their ear. Did Nikki Haley vote to flip for Trump? Maybe she's hoping to be VP, and then when he gets hauled off to prison, she can be the president. Who knows? Knowing her, she's thinking about herself, right? You know how Nikki Haley is. Nikki Haley. She's thinking about becoming the president. She's thinking that if she's his VP pick, then she will be the most likely to take his position when he goes to prison. She's probably just solidifying her position with the GOP. She's a very smart woman. The seductress, looking for the key that the guy holds. Deep down, I think they both know that this guy is not going to make it. Look at this. She wants the ring. To get it, look, if she is the official pick, then that makes it easier for the GOP to say, well, if Miss America cannot fulfill her obligations, Miss USA or whatever, Miss Universe, what did he own? What was the pageant? Then the runner-up is going to take it, right? And so I think it's just Nikki Haley's way of saying, well, it's obvious that I should be the runner-up. because I got the second most votes and you should make me the VP. And so if I do this and play kissy face to you when you get thrown out, which you will, I'll be positioned perfectly to run for president. And at that point, we've got a polite fascist, and then we have a problem. Because she does stand a chance of taking Arizona, Indiana, Michigan. I don't know about Michigan. I'm a huge perfectionist, and it's a neurosis from childhood. It's actually really unhealthy. It's really bad for your mental health. Trump's health events after next week. Let's take a look. Trump's health. Trump's health. I feel like he's going to be replaced by a man who's younger. See, the problem is that everybody fixates on Trump and they don't fixate on the phenomenon of Trump's mental health problems and the fact that there are younger versions of him, like Hawley out of Missouri, a Bridge. He's running out of time. It's a roll of the dice. So he doesn't think he's going to win. This, a lot of this is just a ploy to avoid jail. Here he is running to the key. This is like a gamble for him, but I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he can avoid jail. I don't. In fact, we can check to see if he's going to get a verdict next week. Do you think he could go straight up to jail, or do you think that Juan Rashad, is that his name, is going to be nice to him? Let's take a look. Is Trump going straight to jail? Confusion. He did very bad with the jury. That's what they're saying. The jury did not like Trump. His behavior in the court was very bad. And when jurors talk about it, one of the things that they will talk about is his behavior. How they felt about it and how it made him look guilty, because you have this confusion, but his opposition is the jury, and they gave him the polar bear, so he's not looking too good with his jury. Hopes and fears is to flee the situation. He's got the fox attempting, and then the final outcome. The man who flies, he may be able to avoid jail. I think he's facing serious charges elsewhere. He might be able to delay, but he's got this cross he must bear in his future. So even if he's able to evade jail temporarily, it's bad for him in his future. It's just not a good future. It always comes out as, just really bad. I was bullied when I was a kid, says Delilah Gillis, because I weighed more than others. Yeah, well, I got picked on because I was skinny. So people always find a reason to pick on you, right? So, yeah, we are, people that have had those kinds of experiences. I don't think people realize it can change your personality for life. That's why I really hope when people have young kids, birth order and these early up experiences can really change us, even to the point where you're 61 years old and you're still saying, good God, I'm still being so hard on myself. So we still have to teach ourselves to try and do things differently than we did when we were younger. It's hard. It's very hard. Okay. Do we think that more raids are coming for Trump? Well, what do you folks think? A lot of people think Bedminster, is that what it's called? His New Jersey property could be raided, right? People have talked about that. There's a letter of some type coming from, so they invited him to return copies of missing things. There were documents or things, and there was an invitation for him to return them. And then they waited and they gave him the benefit of the doubt, but he never returned them. He ignored the summons, evidently. And it looks like there's something coming up with the document case in terms of the DOJ and the fact that there was no bias. The papers were missing. They tried to retrieve. They didn't assume anything about why they were missing. The craziness happened when he didn't return the documents. And documents. His opposition gave him opportunities. There's more information coming out about him with these documents. You know what? He gave those. Stuff is long gone. What did Putin say? I already had it. He didn't have to give it to me. I already had it. That leads me to think that he can be charged outside of Florida for some of these crimes, because some of the crimes took place in D.C. If the proper place was D.C. and he stole them in D.C. and took them from a place in D.C., they were held in Florida, but based on the Akashic records, the crime actually takes place in Washington, D.C. if they were stolen from where they belonged in D.C. So even if Judge Cannon doesn't get him on certain things, the feds can get him outside the state, because some of the crimes were committed in D.C. Okay, so he could argue that he had a right to steal them when he was the president in D.C. In fact, I think that's what he's arguing. Rhonda Shank, how will the GOP convention go? I would think pretty badly, Rhonda. We're going to go extra because I couldn't get started. Okay. How is the GOP convention going to go? Putrid. Like a corpse flower that blooms every 12 years or whatever and smells like a corpse. And for some bizarre reason, everybody waits in line for hours to smell the dead corpse flower. They've got one in University of Washington. You guys ever heard about the corpse flower? So you can smell the putrid rot of the dying GOP. That is the way to describe the GOP convention of 2024. You can see the book, the holy book, right? The laws of the GOP. I really feel like the GOP has run away from itself. It can't save itself. Two doors, the red pill and the purple pill, right? Or the blue pill, whatever they want to call it. But the point is that you have two roads or a division. What's interesting here is the calla lilies of death. The putrid death flowers. I just don't know. And then the final outcome, the kingdom. It's interesting. It's just because I see those two doors, I think that there's going to be a real division, and I think MAGA is going to die, and I think that the rhinos, is that what they call them? The rhinos are going to survive. It's very sad because it reminds me of the collapse of the Democratic Convention. What was it, in 1968 when the Democratic Convention collapsed? Or was it 1970 something when it collapsed? With McGovern, 72, 70? This looks like we could see a collapse of the Republican convention. Hopefully the same thing's not going to happen with the Democrats, where they're going to go crazy about Jill Stein, let Jill, the useful idiots helping Iran. Let's see about the Democratic convention. Okay, flying home. Yes, Biden takes it. You can see here, flying home. Deep well. His opposition will at least be doing some deep works, hopes and fears, the garden, and then commerce. It will be the end of the trade war if Biden's reelected. He will see us through the trade war. Somebody had commented about the fact that there's posturing going on right now with China in Taiwan. They can't financially afford a war right now. They are completely belly up. All this war posturing is really taking an emotional stress on everybody. Like what's going on with Taiwan and yeah, Barry Goldwater. Democratic Convention in Chicago. Oh, this year it's in Chicago again? My cough is fine. My cat is shedding. And yes, sometimes I vape, full disclosure, and it gives me a bit of a cough. But no, I'm fine. Thank you, though, sweetie. It's very kind of you to ask. You guys are very kind to me, and I don't think I always let you guys know how much I appreciate how kind you all are. But yeah, that's what's going on. It looks like they are going to cannibalize themselves. And, what's the takeaway? The takeaway is that it wasn't sustainable. And so, let me show you something else that's going on. Are you guys keeping, I know that,
arrested moments ago on suspicion of a large-scale fraud, according to the Russian Federation's state media. According to
looks like we're looking at a total purge of the military because of corruption. Remember, I had said that they didn't have any money. They were running out of money, so they couldn't afford a private army. So now they're down to bare bones. And he's getting rid of all the corruption, supposedly.
To the information that has been stated to the public by the Russian government, Ivan Popov is responsible for the embezzlement or the defrauding of the Russian government of approximately 100 million rubles, which is a fairly substantial sum even for Russian ruble figures, but nevertheless, it is something that is incredibly odd to hear considering the background and the story of Ivan Popov and the 58th Combined Arms Army. According to information that we know, the 58th Combined Arms Army was one of the first to enter Ukraine at the beginning of the 2022 invasion, and not only that, was the major army responsible for Ukraine's stoppage in the area of the Southern Offensive in 2023, and did not allow them to pass forward in larger numbers, holding the Surovikin line fairly well, but not.
So there's no money left. There's no money left to continue the war. And it goes back to what we had said about rope-a-dope, that Biden is playing the long game, that the West is playing the long game, that Putin kept saying, well, you'd better make a deal with me and accept me in Crimea and accept me here. And I also want to take this education system, all these things he wanted to do in Ukraine. And they played the long game and said, no, 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 get out of Ukraine, get out of Ukraine. There were people that in the end wanted to make that deal with Putin. They thought that he could keep the thing going indefinitely. And he had said, I can afford to keep this thing going indefinitely. But when we looked at it as remote viewers, we said, no, you can't. You ain't got no money, honey, which is why you got rid of Prigozhin. You ain't got no money. You have the kleptocracy bankrupted itself. And then the conversation, and I think Joel can remember we had started this conversation about how a kleptocracy will inevitably collapse because it's not based on true patriotism where you're doing what you can to strengthen your country. You're taking what you can for yourself, so inevitably your military collapses. Their military showed the fact that they had been robbed blind. They were not paying their soldiers. They'd given everything to private armies. Private soldiers that were not necessarily patriotic to Russia. They were soldiers of fortune, right? So what we learned from Russia was what can happen in a kleptocracy if privatization takes hold. Also, if you give your government away to private business, private corporations. Yeah. Kleptocracies, right, Joel. Kleptocracies don't win wars. So a lot of people making a ton of money. Same thing happened here in the United States. I know people that were part of the Afghanistan rebuild, and they could not believe the amount of money that was being wasted with private contracts. It was just giving people money to rebuild because they were friends of George Bush Jr., but it didn't necessarily do anything for anybody. It was wasted money. Just a ton of money that was not necessarily responsible. Yeah, I think we're looking at NATO going in, and I think we've predicted that NATO goes in sometime around mid to late June. Let's take a look. Well, Putin is now saying he's going to attack Finland, which is bizarre, because I think Finland is now part of NATO, right? So that's not going to work. Maybe he wants NATO to become involved. I think that Putin's really scared. I think he's really scared. I think that he has lost. The strange thing about Putin is that he has no loyalty. His totem is the dog, which is interesting because you would think if somebody's totem was the dog, they would understand loyalty. And he loves dogs, dogs are his totem. Also here, he presents again as the dog, but he presents as a dog who doesn't have an owner, doesn't have any loyalty. The dog symbolizes loyalty, and it is the totem for Putin, but yet he himself has lost his own support. You can see here the maze of confusion. It's not the general population like the widows in remote areas, Putin's widows who have crushes on him. Those people have no political impact. I'm talking about the people who make military decisions. There's just a lack of direction here. And It's like being loyal to somebody that doesn't know where they're going. I don't see a future for Putin. The best scenario for Putin is for him to retire. I would recommend that Putin retire to Siberia, to his home in Siberia, which is a type of house arrest. Same deal that Yeltsin got. Take his private guard and protect himself. Hand the reins to somebody else who can negotiate a withdraw from Crimea, a withdraw from Ukraine, because it can't be Putin. And at this point, Putin's own loyal circle, the ones that are in the military, the political, they're lost. They're in the maze. They're completely lost. Oh, thank you, Deborah Dimes, for becoming a fairy and an angel. It's very much appreciated. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so like the maze is like Seven of Cups. The maze is people walking around lost, and you have this dog with the leash. But I am the loyal dog. You know, I am a Russian dog, right? Loyal dog. I need the loyal Russian dogs. But you yourself, who is he loyal to? The other way of looking at it is that they're loyal to him, the dog, but they're walking around in a maze because they've lost direction about what is supposed to be taking place in Ukraine. Is there a plan? It's as if they don't have a plan anymore. Isn't that crazy? It became a quagmire. It just became something that they were trapped in. So, and then they couldn't get out of it. So and now there is no army. Not only that, but if you take a look at those cards more deeply, they seem to be suggesting that people stole a bunch of money and then left Russia. And now many of those people, we don't even know where they are. So it's not just that Russia is emptying out. It's that they took a lot of stuff from Russia and then they left, which is similar to what happened in Iran when people left Iran with the fall of the Shah. They took their wealth and they moved to France, or they moved to the United States. Yeah. It's very unfortunate because you look at where Russia was and what the potential of Russia was, say, in the 90s, 2000, when they were starting to open up, versus what has happened now. And it's even worse now than it was at the fall of the Soviet Union. I mean, economically, it's really bad. I feel very bad for the people in Georgia. The young people in Georgia that are concerned that Georgians are going to be drafted. But does anybody think that this is going to stop? Do you think, Tsar Putin, exactly. Do you guys think at this point that men of reproductive age, says Debbie, that is their greatest resource is, you think about people say, well, everyone gets to have a soulmate and we all meet our soulmate. No, we don't. Think about all those women who are never going to be married because their soulmates die in war, right? So that's the tragedy of war. It's really sad. Also, I don't know if people have been listening to some of the conversations on that Russian dude or any of the others where soldiers call in and call their wives and say, I'm going to die. And they have to tell their wives. 600,000? Are you sure it was 600,000 killed? That seems... there were only, well, shouldn't say only, there were 59,000 killed in Vietnam, right? Americans. That seems excessive. Are you sure it was 600,000? That's insane. Wow. Okay, you guys. Well, thanks for hanging. And again, thank you for putting up with my cranky mood. We will get it right. I will figure this out eventually. I promise. All right. And thank you so much for your donations and memberships. Much appreciated. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, please check the information below. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. We'll see you next time. Blessings. Bye, everyone. Bye.